And we are back, but it's not just us that are back because we are back as well with a rematch in a PvZ. We have Bistork versus Demi.
Ooh, exactly. Get your predictions in, people, because again, just because one of these players already won in this series earlier in the upper bracket doesn't mean it's going to go the same way twice.
In fact, a lot of people seem to think that it goes the other way. Something rematch curse. But without further ado, I think I'm pronouncing it right. We are going to be starting off our lower bracket finals here on 2000's Atmosphere LE. What is my age again? As we spawn into the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the pink Protoss player coming down from the land of Hong Kong. He is the Kong from Hong Kong, the Hong Kong Kong. He is stroking his beef, Bistork.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the Indian Zerg player. He is red, representing Team Alpha X. Wanting that revenge, it is Demi.
And he's definitely more than warmed up now. He's had to play, I think, the most amount of matches so far of anyone still in the tournament. Not too many of them, to be fair, but just about enough to get his fingers warm, enough to really get him in the groove. Meanwhile, Bistork also warmed up, but in a bit of a different way. He's doing this a lot more than
Oh my.
than in the previous series.
Yep, he's already done this against Demi once before. He's looking to do it again. Demi, he does scout this, he does see, so he's going to be forced to cancel this hatchery. We've been here before, but not in this map. If you remember, this is the map where it went into the long game. This was the Sky Toss versus Zerg game that we had earlier today.
Yeah, this is a map where Demi pretty uncharacteristically decided to play a lot more passive, a bit more defensive, and Bistork took full advantage of that. I guess he doesn't expect Demi to do the same thing twice on the same map.
And I mean, Bistork, he's playing this out differently. Oh my god. So I'm really curious to see how this plays out. Again, like, he just committed to a single pylon and a single cannon to force the first cancel. And he could go again here and try and force a cancel at the third. Ooh, even forcing Demi to make a spine.
Though. Yeah, already a bit of wasted resources there. No way Bistork was able to get a cannon up in that other base, but the threat was always there.
Exactly. I mean, in the end, Demi should cancel this spine. It's not really doing too much for him. And meanwhile, the pylon was also canceled here at the third base. So Demi, he does hold. There you go. He does cancel. And we are transitioning into a more later game. But Bistork does have a bit of an advantage here.
Yeah, it's pretty slight, but it is an advantage nonetheless. Bistork is not going to be restricted in any way going into this Stargate cell if he wants to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, again, Demi still finally gets his second hatchery up and running. Like, his queens are delayed, his drones are delayed. He's only on one base economy, barely one base economy. Finally, he's pushing down to try and get the base up and running. And yeah, Bistork is just being as annoying as possible.
He even takes out some larvae, because why not?
That's disgusting.
May as well.
Ah, God.
Listen, I get it. I do that all the time with Hellions if I don't find any drones to kill.
Meanwhile, nice positioning on the queens, able to protect the rally of drones. Likewise, the lings were ready there to deal with that shade if it did commit into the main base. So Demi will eventually, get back up and running. But we already have the opening, right? Void Ray comes out. Ooh, and even an Oracle afterwards.
Interesting. See how committed Bistork is to the Oracles. That Oracle that he had in their earlier series really got a lot done with the stasis wards, even killing a couple of drones here and there. Little tiny bit of added DPS in the main fight too, but yeah, we'll see how that plays out this time. If he even decides to commit to even more oracles.
Yeah, we've seen Bistork do that before, right? We've seen him do that in the past. I'm also waiting to see if he throws down a second Stargate as well. Like, he hasn't gone for a Twilight Council. Instead, he's going for this third.
And yeah, once again, just pretty similar to what we've had in their first series against each other. I fully expect Demi to take a bit more initiative this game, though.
Meanwhile, this Oracle really catching Demi off guard. He assumed that it was just Void Rays, and this Oracle getting a lot of damage.
Does not even care about that Queen. It's fighting through the pain, and it gets 8 drones for it. If Bistork wanted to, he could just recall that.
He could. I mean, he could lose it and it's still fine. Like, 8 workers went down. That's a lot of damage. Again, Demi, he had no idea that an Oracle was coming across the map. He just thought it was nothing but Void Rays. And to be fair, it is nothing but Void Rays.
But not in that order.
Oh, God.
That Bistork is kind of running circles around Demi's mind.
He definitely is. Like, Demi, he has it in him to stabilize, but he's not there quite yet. Like, we're equal in workers, we're equal in bases. I would love to see a 4th base pretty soon, but right now Demi has to make sure he doesn't take too much more damage. Ooh, he can miss the shade.
Such a good choke point, too. The target firing is definitely real. Too real, too real. Adepts are chasing the drones and kind of expose themselves.
Yeah. In the end, both Adepts finally get taken out. We did see the Oracle try and dip into the natural base, but it was pushed away. So Demi, he's starting to regain control of his bases. Ooh, and I love this. He's going full Demi right now. He's going to Aspire.
This was what I was missing from the previous series light.
Yeah, exactly. Does he have enough queens, though? That's what I'm a little bit concerned about. As I quickly check, he does have 5 queens available to him. 3 here on the front line, and 5 queens together should be able to take down these Void Rays.
Yeah, but definitely a bit of a big if. Bistork did reveal his hand a little bit soon, though. But it doesn't take much for Demi to just regroup. Oh, almost loses Void Ray needlessly. But, yeah, once again, he's just utilizing these Void Rays for map control, being as careful as possible to keep them alive. And there's that fleet beacon already about halfway done. Yeah,
and these Void Rays, they want some damage. Oh my god, there's only 3 queens here, a little bit isolated. Demi, or Bistork, what's gonna go for? Oh my god.
Oh, the move command! Does not lose that uber vulnerable Void Ray.
Oh my god. Meanwhile, Oracle dives in. Ooh, does see the Spire thanks to this Overlord.
Man, that's such a feels bad, isn't it? You don't get your tech tagged, but you get a unit next to the tech tagged.
Yeah,
and they see it anyway.
Ooh, so now that the Spire has been spotted, Bistork is aware. He may start switching into Phoenixes. It kind of depends on what Demi's going to go for here. Is he going to go Mass Corrupt, or is he going to try and make Mutas work?
Yeah, that's definitely to be determined. In the meantime, Bistork is fine with just producing a couple of carriers. There's still the end game composition for Bistork. He still wants to make them regardless. Once he's able to suss out what kind of unit Demi is making from that Spire, that's when he'll really make a tech choice.
Definitely. Meanwhile, these Void Rays are still trying to find some damage. Thankfully, the Queens are not too far behind. Ooh, nice transfuse. He keeps his Queen alive. Up.
But he really wants to kill it! But he's not quite getting it.
Yeah, that he is not, and I love this. 16 Mutas are on the way. Like, again, this is the game that Demi wants to be in. Mutas, you could be wondering, like, is that really the tech of choice here? Is this gonna work? I mean, Mutas, they can focus on every single one of these Void Rays. Void Rays will fall to Mutas if the Mutas are in high enough numbers.
Exactly. It's almost like there's a critical mass of Mutas you really want to hit where they can just start one-shotting the Void Rays. If they don't get to do that, then the Void Rays will have enough DPS to take out the Mutalists. They are in very low health, but one by one they do start getting picked off. These Void Rays, I mean.
And on top of that, I love how Demi is being so aggressive with these things. He forced a cancel on the 4th base earlier towards the north. He does check the 4th base again towards the south. And yo, these Mutas, after they deal with the Void Rays, they could even go for the base.
And there are a ton of them. Bistork trying to fight this, but he does not have enough Void Rays. Demi has way too much. Carriers start to come out, but it is super exposed here, Light.
Oh my
god. Look at Mutas! Tugging it down!
Everything in the air goes down. There are a couple of Stalkers remaining, but you know what? Mutas, they don't care about Stalkers, especially without Blink. And now this 4th base, mate, it's gone.
And this was everything Demi was missing in their previous series. He realizes what his what went wrong for him, and he is absolutely taking the map control. The Phoenixes dive a little too far in, and they pay the ultimate price for it. Another carrier goes down, and Demi is in total control of this game.
Exactly. Critical mass of Mutas has been reached. The carriers go down. The Phoenixes went down earlier. Even depowers the Cyber Core. Not for long, as it does get repowered, but the Cyber Core, oh my god, it's going to get picked off.
It gets repowered just to get taken out. Oh, man.
Mate.
Feels bad moments.
Yeah,
it's happening right now.
It's a massacre, mate. Lings are flooding in. What is there to do with the Lings? A couple of Zealots are being warped in, but you know what? They don't have charge. What are they really going to do against these Lings? Like, Demi is just pulling Bistork apart.
These Zealots are going to get picked off by the Mutas before they can even reach the Lings.
Exactly.
Potentially.
And you were talking about it earlier, and I 100% agree. In our first series, I didn't get a chance to say it, but when Demi was playing it out, he went for Hydras, and I was like, that's kind of odd. Like, that's not really what Demi goes for. Like, to be fair, maybe he's trying to expand his horizons. You know, he was trying to do something a little bit different, get some practice in, right? He's in a tournament format here, so he wanted to try out his Hydra style against Bistork, but really, we see Mutas. That's what you need.
It's like a fallback here for Demi.
Yeah.
It's the comfort unit. It's what it is.
It really is, mate. It really is.
All else fails.
He's like, look, I tried to do something different. It just didn't work. I have to go Mutas.
Guys, it's not my fault. They just called to me.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Anion Pulse Crystals is complete, which is Phoenix range, so Bistork is going to have a much easier time dealing with these Mutas, but that's why Demi is switching into Corruptors.
Yeah, the minute he saw those purple beams, he immediately hit his C key, or whatever he uses to produce Corruptors.
Yeah, exactly. Corruptors on the way. They're going to deal with the Phoenixes nicely. Then the Mutas can deal with the Mineral Lines. Bistork, he's trying to expand. He's trying to take another base as best he can, but like he just barely has any units to work with.
I'm so surprised that Natural Base went down. I'm sure Bistork was able to hold it. And speaking of the Lings and the Mineral Lines, Light, that's where they are, and they are absolutely wreaking havoc. Bistork cannot bind to save his life right now.
Exactly. Again, it's one of those things where, like, slow Zealots aren't going to deal with Lings like this, and GG gets called.
GG gets called, yep. Demi takes game number 1. He looked angry that game. I have to agree that slow Zealots aren't going to deal with Lings, but, you know, maybe they can do something against Mutas.
Maybe, mate, maybe. Aye. Again, it's one of those things where Demi, you were talking about it, he's upset. This is Demi going Super Saiyan. This is Demi in serious mode.
This is Hulk Demi. What an analogy can we use? Red Lantern Demi.
What are you on about, man? This is like season this is like season 7 of Friends Joey right now. What does that mean? I don't know.
Actually, I would say more of season 5 Ross Demi.
Oh god. Aye, mate. Meanwhile, yo, shout out to Demi because he just messaged me. I didn't want to play Hydras in the last series. I just forgot my Spire.
I was forced to.
He said he forgot his
He
Spire.
didn't forget the Spire. It got killed, Demi.
It was. I mean, I'm sure he meant to get it earlier. Is what he means. Ooh.
Oh. Wrong race, yeah.
Yep.
It was turn.
Oh god. But yeah, now that Bistork has seen and experienced this Muta style from Demi, are we gonna see Bistork commit to an all-in? Like, are we gonna see him? Like, are we gonna see like that like proxy robo cannon rush that we saw against Gogo Joey?
Well, it didn't work for him in game number 1. I would be a little surprised if he went for it in game number 2. That said, if he did the specific immortal style that he did against Gogo Joey, it would work if he had a War Prism. Or if he makes a War Prism.
Yeah. We'll see if that's what he goes for.
That we shall, as we continue our series here on Oxide LE. We're in the top right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have the pink Protoss player coming down from the land of Hong Kong. He is the Kong from Hong Kong, the Hong Kong, already moving out with a, yeah, okay, I had to look at a minimap to make sure I wasn't seeing things. But, yes, here we are. He is the Stroker of Beef, Bistork.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Indian Zerg player. He is red, representing Team Alpha X. It is Demi.
I was honestly half expecting Bistork to just grab a Forge first when I saw this probe move out.
I was yeah, I'm also keeping an eye on this probe to see what it gets up to. So far everything is looking pretty normal for Bistork, which kind of makes sense. Like, Oxide is a map that is a little bit more standard here. It can be a little bit more difficult to get away with that sort of stuff. But yeah, like, I mean, Bistork really got shut down that game when he was trying to go for that Skytoss style. I can't imagine we're going to see that again here, right?
I can.
It is Bistork.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It is Bistork. You're not wrong.
True.
Oh god.
Yeah, but as much as Oxide is a bit more of a defensive map, so Bistork can definitely get away with macroing back home a little easier, I still have to imagine he has to do something a little different here. Demi has sort of cracked the code on how to really take advantage of a Protoss player who wants to be a bit more passive, so I definitely feel like I don't know, maybe a more gateway-focused, Twilight-focused opening would be a bit more effective, but would that be too predictable?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I 100% agree. We saw this earlier today from Bistork, right? Going to a big Glaive Adept all-in, and it worked against Demi on this very map. So I also feel like it would make sense for him to go for it, but it's very samey, you know, it's very obvious. So at the same time, do you really want to go for it again? Like, that's the detriment of facing a player twice in the same tournament.
Yeah, hence why it's often called the rematch curse, but really it's just the player who lost figuring out what went wrong for them in the initial series and patching up the holes.
Exactly. And if the player who won does the exact same thing, then they're going to be at a disadvantage, right? And that's kind of what we saw last game. Where sure, Bistork, he didn't open up the same. He was being a little bit more aggressive and he dealt a lot of early game damage, but he still went for that Skytoss style, and Demi was able to switch things up against it. And surprisingly, to me anyway, Bistork he goes to the Stargate again.
He does go for the Stargate once more, but he does not go for a Void Ray first. Little bit more committed to Oracles this time, I have to imagine.
Yeah, I mean, he's going for that Oracle first. If you remember, the last time on Oxide, he did open up with the Stargate, and then he went for a Twilight Cancel behind that, so it is still possible for him to do something like that. Regardless, Demi, he needs to be on top of his scouting.
Yeah, almost is with that Overlord, but not quite there yet.
Yeah,
it's solely early game though.
Mate, there's not even a queen here.
There's so many drones!
Oh my god, Demi, please, the Oracle, it goes ham here. There are 2 queens here that are going to meet up and try and deal with this Oracle, but already 5 drones went down.
Oh, almost 6. I said almost 6. Almost 6.
Almost 6.
5, if you want to call it that.
So Demi being punished for his greed again. He didn't go in with his Overlord. He delayed his scouts. Because of that, the Oracle was able to deal an insane amount of damage. If it was a Void Ray first, then the Void Ray would have revealed itself to the Overlord, and Demi would have had an easier time. And oh my god, he's going double Stargate again.
Okay. I can dig it.
Can you dig it?
Yes, he can? Question mark? No, I can see this working out for Bistork, is what I mean.
I mean, so far he's dealing a lot of damage, right? Like, this is a lot of lost mining time. Look at how oversaturated the main base is here, and that was only due to 2 Adepts. Oh my god.
2 Adepts that are going to get a whole lot more damage. Bistork being very active with his Void Race, really keeping these Queens at bay. And Demi, as you said, was being a little bit greedy for a while. He was focusing a lot more on his economy, on droning up. Wasn't quite able to deal with these Adepts. And now Bistork is at a higher worker count, the same amount of bases, which is basically light years ahead of the Zerg player. Demi's trying to go for a big push, but we'll see how well Bistork is able to defend against that.
I mean, what's important is Bistork just scouted this. He scouted the Roaches, the Ravagers, and the Queen, so he knows what's coming his way. He needs shield batteries. He needs a lot more than 1, and immediately he gets killed.
Not cancelled, which is actually very important.
Ooh.
Oh, no! Even the Stasis Ward gets cancelled right at the last second there.
Yeah. And what is there to defend? There are going to be 2 Void Rays, but you know what? The Queens, they're not too far away here. Demi has a lot of firepower.
There is a shield battery. There was a shield battery. And now there's nothing here to really support these units. The these Protoss units, I mean. The Queens are starting to make their way in with their anti-air and with a lot of transfused energy on them.
Yeah, exactly. They have a lot of way to go here. Finally, the Queens have arrived. They're trying to focus on the Void Race as best they can. And meanwhile, Demi, he's going to be able to focus down this 3rd base.
Yeah, well, once he gets the opportunity to. Now he does need to worry about the main army for a little bit. Their battery overcharge did get popped, but it's still a very exposed shield battery. It gets taken out. And, man, oh man.
Yeah, these Queens are dealing a lot of damage. And it looks like the 3rd Nexus is gone, mate. It's going to go down due to all of these things and the Ravagers. Now, Bistork, I was going to say, Demi, is he going to try and force the issue and break into the natural? No, he backs off. He will lose all these Queens, but the damage was done.
Indeed it was. So Demi's on roughly even worker count. And ahead in the bases. Even trying to get a 4th? No, it's just a blob of units.
Tis a blob.
And
now, so Bistork, he's not dead, and now he has a mass amount of Void Rays. He was able to keep the majority of them alive. He actually hasn't lost a single Void Ray this game, so this is still dangerous. Like, these Void Rays can go across the map and they can deal some damage.
Yeah, losing all those Queens earlier on was worth it for taking out the base, but now he just has a lot less defenses against these Void Rays. He's got plenty of transfuse. He had plenty of transfuse. But he's got quite a number of Spore Crawlers.
Yeah, the Spores are really keeping Demi alive. It was very smart of him to throw down all these Spores after the attack finished because he knew the threat that the Void Rays posed. But he doesn't really have an answer to them yet. The lair is about to finish up, so he can go into Hydras or Corruptors. Hydras feel a little bit more natural to me just because he's working on 1-1, but we'll see what Demi decides to go for.
Let's go Mutas once again. No, it should be Mutas. There we go. The Hydra then does get thrown down. May as well make use of that range upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the Void Rays are here and they're trying to focus on this 3rd base. It looks like they're going to get it.
Base for a base. How about that?
Oh god, exactly. Meanwhile, finally a Void Ray does get picked off. The Lings are harassing across the map. They're going to try and force another cancel.
Bistork has just not been able to get a 3rd base up for quite some time.
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared though, because you know what? I think Bistork's 3rd is going to be faster than Demi's, and I don't know if Demi can hold on to it. It's like there are just so many Void Rays.
So many Void Rays, and that Fleet Beacon is just about to finish up, so there's potential for Bistork to get even deadlier of these. There are plenty of Queens out now though, and Goose Finds is on the way. No Hydras in production just yet though. It's definitely very worrisome.
That's what I'm waiting for. Like, where are those Hydras? Like, Queens are great for defense, but they have their limitations. Oh, God.
As we see, a lot of high energy Queens are being taken out. A lot less transfuse energy is available for Demi, but he does walk into a couple Spore Crawlers.
Yeah, Demi, he traded very well there. Killing 2 Void Rays, like, that's huge. Finally, the Hydras are on the way. Again, there's not that much gas to work with. There's not that much just resources to work with in general. Bistork, he wants to try and cancel this third base again.
He may be able to get it with that many Void Rays out, but with that many Spore Crawlers, he won't be able to kill it without paying a ton in damages.
Yeah, exactly. Really nicely done there by Demi, able to keep this third base alive. Demi, he needs a 4th though. Like, he needs some more production to work with. He's working on his Hydras, which is great and all, but the carriers are on the way.
Yeah. Demi needs to get another base up and tech up as much as he can.
I mean, you can go for a Hydra timing. The problem is that because the economy of Demi has been disrupted and he's been on only 4 gases, like, he can't afford too many Hydras right now. He can't hit the timing that he would have wanted to earlier.
I was definitely going to try. Flux Veins is actually not quite done yet, but Void Race is still pretty quick nonetheless. Do make it out of there.
That they do. That Hydra count is getting higher and higher. The Hydras have been revealed, so Bistork knows the kind of composition that Demi is going for. So Bistork, if he wanted to, he could try and go into some kind of AoE like Storm or Charge Dots or Archons, but right now he's just committed to carriers.
Yeah, I've noticed that about Bistork quite a bit. It's delayed getting the AoE, which kind of makes sense. He wants to focus his resources on getting the Death Ball that all Protoss players strive to go into, but it's not really a Death Ball without AoE.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. It looks like Bistork, he was listening to you. We do have Disruptors on the way, or Colossus, one or the other. Meanwhile, here we go. Bistork, he's being active out on the map. Maybe Demi can try and catch some of these units.
If the Hydra turn around, there we go! It's almost gets a carrier! But no cigar. Interceptors are starting to go down, and that's actually really eating into Bistork's economy.
Now it's go time, right? Like, a bunch of interceptors just went down. Now is the time for Demi to strike here. He's going to try and engage with this army again. He's getting a lot of interceptors, which is great, but it's going to take a long time for these queens to waddle across the map.
Yeah, thankfully the Hydras are already here to fight their anti-air, and it's basically just a air army right now for Bistork. Nothing really on the ground. Disruptor starting to come out. Demi's so on point with his transfuses.
Oh god, that Disruptor, it will pop out though, and again, it's going to be so difficult to split up your Hydras. How good is that Purification Nova going to be?
Yeah, they're starting to really clump up here. And on this ramp, the Interceptors have really gotten down though.
Yeah, they have been going down. The Disruptor is out, but it has a long ways to go to really get into this fight. But here it is.
It's trying! What's the Nova? What's the Nova? That's what happens when you expose your Disruptor too much. He went right in the edge of his army so he could get the juiciest Nova possible. That Nova did not pop at all. The Hydras are all Demi needs right now. That Nova was decent, but Demi needs a lot, or Bistork rather, needs a lot more than decent.
Yeah, exactly. All the Interceptors are going down. That Disruptor is exposed. It could go down as Demi is breaking into the natural base.
And he may not have wanted to get Hydras, but they are working out so well for him. Battery overcharge! He's trying. 2 Novas for a Queen and a Hydra. Not exactly the most worthwhile trade, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, an odd choice for Bistork to target specifically that 1 Queen with 2 Purification Novas. That could have changed everything here as both Disruptors go down. The Robo went down as well, so no more Disruptor production for Bistork.
No AoE on the ground. The only thing he has left are carriers, and carriers are just gonna bleed dry on this Interceptors before being taken out eventually.
Exactly. Like Bistork, he's not
really isn't even trying.
You go on.
I was just gonna say, Demi isn't even trying to target down these carriers because he doesn't need to.
Yeah, that's the power of the Hydra. The Hydra has enough DPS to contend with the Interceptors. There's just not any DPS here. Even though Bistork has done a really good job at keeping his carriers alive, they just don't have any Interceptors left.
Literally dead supply.
Exactly, and Demi... He's breaking in.
Indeed, he is almost going to be taking out that fleet beacon. Well, he actually took out the Stargates before this, so yeah, regardless, there won't going to be any more carriers being produced. All Bistork has is all he's got.
Oh god, exactly, and now everything will be cleaned up here. Bistork did a really good job at keeping his carriers alive, but he doesn't have any production anymore. Right? He can produce nothing. He has a massive gas bank. He can spend it on nothing as his main base gets cleaned up here. And I think this is just the end of the end, mate. Like, what is there left for Bistork?
Like, Bistork, he has a very fortified position by that third base location, but as you said, he just does not have a way to move out from that. Demi is getting his fourth base. He is pretty close to maxing out. And the most important thing, he's still mining light years faster and many leagues more than Bistork is.
Yeah, exactly. And the Hydras, they are stepping forward into the third base. Sure, there's no overcharge, but what is he keeping alive? Nothing, mate. Everything is going down. There's nothing left here for Bistork. Demi with the revenge. He got 2-0'd, and now it's his turn to 2-0.
GG is called. The revenge has been complete. Very well played. I mean, and funnily enough, it kind of feels like both of these series that they've played, Bistork and Demi, they took turns being the dominant player.
They really did. And again, maybe it's one of those things where Demi just needed some time to warm up, you know, like it was the first series of the day, the first series of the tournament, and maybe Demi really had to kind of loosen up and get ready for that ZvP. And we saw, mate, what a showing here against Bistork.
Absolutely insane. I mean, that was even more dominant than Bistork series against Demi, I feel. I had a lot of high hopes for Bistork going into this. I mean, just looking at the tournament, I had a good feeling about him, and taking third place is good, but honestly, the fashion that he got here, the manner of which that he used to get to third place, and just how clean he was looking in his games, I'm very impressed with Bistork.
Definitely. Like, again, there's a reason why Bistork, he was able to beat Demi in the first place, right? And things were looking really close against Gurgajoy, right? Like, we were talking about it before, like, what if he did make a Warp Prism in that proxy? Could we have gone to a Game 3? It's possible, right? But in the end, the Kong of Hong Kong, he does go down. There is a reason why he is the Kong, you know, he's still the second best in his country. But now we're going to find out who has the best ZvZ between these two finalists here in Gurgajoy and Demi.
Tony Ferguson? Question mark?
Who?
Oh, you're not in the Demi chat.